My hat turned back, down, baby, never singing my wrist, begging what? I'm waiting on this nigga wise, big old.
I feel awkward. I haven't done this in a long time. But listen, you can say I'm back. I'm going to be pumping out videos consistently. So what we're going to talk about is July the 16th, 2016 in Alabama. PBC on Fox, national television. Deontay Wilder, what is he, 34-0 with 33 knockouts or something like that? I forgot. Our WBC champion of the world, our African-American WBC heavyweight champion of the world is going to be fighting Chris the Nightmare Arreola, who is 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 no contest, and 1 draw in his last 6 fights. Now, he's ranked number 9 by the WBC, and what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about why he's fighting Chris Arreola. For one, you have to understand that he was supposed to fight Alexander Povetkin May the 21st, but then within about a week and a half or so before the fight, it was news was released that Alexander Povetkin failed the drug test. Well, since then, Alexander Povetkin has passed the drug test, and now Deontay Wilder is suing Team Povetkin and his promoter, who's a billionaire, by the way, for lost wages from the fight. Wilder was going to make somewhere around $4.6 million. Now, the fight has not been canceled. It has been postponed. And the fact that the new WBC rankings for heavyweight, or just WBC rankings in general, are out right now for the month of June, it shows that Alexander Povetkin is still the mandatory. Now, my opinion is that even with all the bullshit and controversy surrounding this fight, it's become much more of a bigger fight, in my opinion, somewhat of a super fight. Now, of course, there's going to be people that say, oh, it shouldn't happen, and, you know, this and that. One thing I do have to point out is that the promoter, Robinski, the promoter of Alexander Povetkin is a billionaire. And he's talking about suing everybody himself. Now, he wants to make sure this fight happens. Now, here's the thing. The drug that Alexander Povetkin took, or they're saying that he took, whatever the case may be, go look it up. I really don't feel like going into the fine details. The point I'm trying to make is the amount that was found in his system was just so small, you know, that it wouldn't have had any type of effect on him anyway. It also, it's a newly banned drug. The drug was banned in, January of this year, and they gave whoever was using it until about March or so to have it out of their system. But from what I've gathered is there's no research on how long that drug stays in your system. Now, from what I've learned, it's a drug that is supposed to help with stamina and endurance, and also recovery time. It's a drug that would benefit a fighter. But in my personal opinion, I really feel, I'm really starting to feel, and this is just my opinion, I'm really starting to feel that maybe Alexander Povetkin didn't do anything wrong. Now, the biggest controversy of it is, well, how did he pass 2 drug tests and then the third one come back positive for this drug? You know, how did he pass 2 drug tests, but then a third one he fails, and then one after that he passes? It's just a controversial situation, and truth be told, we may never know the truth. But the point I'm trying to make is Deontay Wilder, in my opinion, doesn't set a good example for fighting a guy for whatever he failed the drug test for in Chris Arreola. He failed the drug test for marijuana. Whether he did it, I mean, it's not, whatever the case may be. It's like, okay, well, you're talking about how, you know, clean sport and all kind of stuff. Like, you go from one fighter who failed the drug test, and then you go to another fighter who failed the drug test. Now, it's not about the fact that it was pop. That's not the point I'm trying to make. That's not the point I'm trying to make. By the way, shout out to Chip Mitchell of the Fight Journal, who helped bring that to my attention. Let's go through the WBC rankings. Now, go to the WBC website. I'm just going to read off the top 15, and so this video is not 10-15 minutes long. I'm going to go through each reason. I'm going to go through each fighter and why he can't fight those fighters in such a short time. Remember, he was supposed to fight May the 21st. Now he's fighting less than 2 months later on July the 16th, PBC on Fox. So you have number 1, still ranked Alexander Povetkin. Number 2, Bermane Stiverne, who he fought already. I don't think they would have went that route, with a fighter that he fought already. Kubrat Pulev, who's number 3, who just had a fight, and in my opinion, I don't believe that Wilder's team would approach Kubrat Pulev in such short notice. They would want a full, a full hardcore camp for that. And also, I'm not sure that Kubrat Pulev would take that fight. You have number 4, Joseph Parker. He's now IBF and WBO number 1 contender. He's clearly chasing Anthony Joshua. You have number 5, Johan Duhaupas, who beat up Robert Herlenius. He fought Johan Duhaupas already. Nobody would want to see that. He would be crucified if he took that fight. You got number 6, David Haye. Come on, we know that's not happening in such short notice. And also, David Haye fought on the same day that Povetkin and Wilder was supposed to fight. You have number 7, Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is a top-ranked fighter. I believe that politically, even though Heyman and Bob Arum are on speaking terms and they've been talking about working on cards in the future, I just don't feel that Top Rank would put Andy Ruiz in there with Deontay Wilder or vice versa, my personal opinion. You got Brian Jennings. That's a fight that could have been made, but I don't think that fight would have been made on such short notice. And then you got number 9, Chris Arreola, who he's fighting. You got number 10, Malik Scott. We all know what happened with that bullshit. You got number 11, Artur Spiegel, who he beat. Number 12, Eric Molina, who beat Tomas Adamic. And now it's back on his way, to get another title shot sometime in the future. You got Ruslan Chagiev, who is now the WBA World Champion again. I don't even know why he's ranked by the WBC, but hey, whatever. Then you got Gerald Washington, who I thought would be the number 1 candidate to fight Wilder. He's a Al Heyman fighter. And then you got Carlos Takam, who lost to Joseph Parker. What was that, at the end of April or, early May? So if you really look at the WBC rankings, you have to fight somebody that's ranked within the top 15. And for you to fight somebody on such short notice, there was only realistically, what names he could have fought on such short notice that I feel confident that they probably could have made. Bermane Stiverne, but you don't know, how Don King would have, stalled that situation, or if Bermane Stiverne was even ready to take that fight. Going down the list, Andy Ruiz, maybe, Brian Jennings, and then is Gerald Washington. So unless he was going to fight, Tyson Fury or Vladimir Klitschko, Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua, then there was really nobody else for him to fight. And let me say this, I feel like this. Even though Chris Arreola has had many chances in his career to either pursue a title or win a title, for example, let me go look at his let me go look at his resume real quick. I look at it like this: he will bring a threat. He is a threat. He does have the power, and he does have some boxing ability. Now, depending on how much he's weighing right now, for example, like I said, he's 2-6 in his last 6 fights. A win over Seth Mitchell and a win over Curtis Harper, in which he was having trouble early. Remember, that was that PBC on Spike fight, I believe it was. Now, when it comes to the draw against Fred Kasi, me and colleagues actually covered that fight, and he should have lost to Fred Kasi. So, really, in my opinion, he should be 2-3-1 without that draw. And then the Travis Kaufman fight, in which he failed the drug test, in which a lot of people felt he lost that fight. But when you look at the biggest wins of his career, Seth Mitchell, let's face it, Seth Mitchell wasn't really never good. He had the 2 fights with Bermane Stiverne, in which the second fight he was actually doing pretty good and rocked Bermane Stiverne a couple of times before, of course, he got knocked out. So that's all he's going to be known for in that fight, is getting knocked out. And then in the first fight where Bermane Stiverne, quote unquote, broke his fucking nose, he fought Eric Molina, knocked Eric Molina out in the first round, and Wilder was able to do that in the 5th or 6th or so. And just looking at his resume, the last time he had a title shot he was close to being an IBF number 1 contender when he fought Tomas Adamic. That was back in 2010. He fought Vitaly Klitschko, and Vitaly Klitschko smashed his face in. I remember watching that live and made him cry in 2009. And then, depending on how you look at the Bermane Stiverne first fight, you can say that was somewhat of a title shot too. So he's had 3 chances to win a title and 1 number 1 contender fight, and now he's getting a 4th chance, basically 3rd on paper, to win a title, and then after this he's done. But He's a threat. He's a threat off of punching power. And we've known and seen in the past that Deontay Wilder has had some issues with the chin. We've seen it. You know, that's why people don't give Deontay Wilder the full credit he deserves, because he hasn't really earned the respect of, okay, we know that your chin is somewhat suspect. You know, that Polish fighter that knocked him down or out in the amateurs. I forgot if he knocked him out, but I know he knocked him down. You know, we saw what happened with the David Hayes sparring. We saw what happened with Nikolai Further. We saw what happened. Was it Eric Molina or Johan Duhaupas who tagged him up? You know, we've seen several times where he, you know, got a little shaky. And, you know, you have to question those things. But, you know, July the 16th, 2016, PBC on Fox in Alabama. I'm going to be watching. I think it's going to actually be a really good fight. And then after, we're going to see what happens with Alexander Povetkin. In my personal opinion, if he would have been suspended, he would have been suspended already. You know, it's going to happen, and I feel it's a bigger fight than it used to be. You know, it was a big fight before, and it did fuck up my weekend. But I feel now Wilder versus Povetkin is going to be a huge fight. So we've heard that, or if you haven't heard, the WBC said that we should have resolution. We will know what will happen with Alexander Povetkin by the end of June, by the end of this month. So, you know, before he goes into his fight with Chris Arreola, we're going to know if the WBC keeps their word, we're going to know if Alexander Povetkin is going to be next or not. T Street Controversy Live on Twitter, T Street Controversy Live on Facebook, T Street Controversy Live on Instagram. Please subscribe. T Street Controversy Live.